as they went through the show. This was based off a bar in New York City called 13, which is a bar for single mixes. The bar even has people who could be in it with their ex-significant other, which had caused fights. Go figure. As time went on, people would get murdered, and the other people would have to investigate how the person would be murdered.
This setup for this murder mystery is really fun because it's a little more humorous, and I can play my character a little bit over the top and have fun with it, which is really nice.
It's an interesting production because it's improv, so we have an idea of who our characters are and their relationships to each other and their motivations, but what happens in the moment. So you don't quite know what's going to happen, and every time we run it, it's a new adventure, shall we say.
Into the Kingdom East School District. Before the 8 local schools unify to form one district, the Linden Town School has decided to look into their reserve fund and see what renovations need to be made to their facility. After unification, any discussions for renovating facilities will need to be discussed by the unified board instead of the individual school board.
So there will be articles for the voters to vote on at town meeting that will ask them to take the reserve funds that we currently have in a maintenance reserve fund and in a technology reserve fund and reallocate them into an educational facilities fund.
In today's world, we are on the go nonstop, checking emails and answering phone calls, which is taking away needed leisure time from our day-to-day lives. With the negative health impacts our stressful lifestyle can have on us, the Serenity Spa at the Stepping Stone Inn on Darling Hill in Lindenville is providing the steps needed for people to better handle their stress. Wellness is more than just taking care of your body. It's about the ability to prevent and recover from stressful situations that life may throw at you.
You start off with your stress level here, and a car cuts you off, and you go up a little bit, then you still got a lot of room up here before you're redlining. So that's in the area of stress. The first thing to concentrate on is thinking about reducing your stress.
Gets at it faster.
One way to help bring your standing stress level down is by adding yoga to your daily routine. Yoga is great for anyone that wants to reduce their stress because it relieves tense muscles while providing better circulation for the body, allowing for clearer and more focused thoughts. Many schools are looking to improve their security. The Kingdom East School District is no exception, with the newly forming district walking headstrong into their first year. There are many continually improving security protocols that are already in place to protect students. Jennifer Botza joins the superintendent for the Kingdom East School District, plans to continue improving security measures at all 8 schools within the district.
What Kingdom East has asked, and they did this at the last board meeting, is that the administration provides an assessment, a security assessment of each school, so we know, do we need to make facilities upgrades? What are our protocols?
2 men were arraigned in court yesterday after breaking into a home on Center Street in Lindenville on Sunday night. Good evening, I'm Emma Quinn.
And I'm Kieran Brisson. Raul Garcia of St. Johnsbury and Torrin Mitchell of Staten Island, New York, pleaded not guilty to the multiple charges against them in Caledonia Superior Court. During the altercation, Garcia threatened multiple people with a pistol handgun. He was returned to jail without bail because of the dangerous nature of the case, according to Judge Devine. Mitchell was also returned to jail with $10,000 bail. The bail was warranted for Mitchell's lack of ties to the area.
On Saturday, St. Johnsbury police responded to a single vehicle crash that took place in the parking lot of the Maple Fields in St. Johnsbury. 54-year-old Scott Whitcomb backed his 2006 Nissan Sentra into a gas pump, completely knocking it over. St. Johnsbury Fire and Rescue found Whitcomb slumped over and unresponsive when they arrived on scene. Whitcomb was transported to NVRH, where he was later released.
The general fund has increased by about $25,000, while the proposed highway fund has increased by about $150,000. Bringing the proposed total to over $1.6 million. In addition to budget increases, Priscilla Aldrich confirmed to News 7 that she will be seeking another term as town clerk as her previous term expires next month. She also had some time this morning to speak to us why the budget is increasing.
And the reason being is insurance and wages, and the highway crew, the highway department needs to put more money in the equipment fund, so they put an extra $70,000 in the equipment fund this year. Plus they have the payments for the trucks and graders and things that they have now.
Academy hosted a giant slalom race at Burke Mountain. Spirits were high as the race came to an end and skiers partook in an award ceremony. This honored the St. Johnsbury seniors and the efforts of all the athletes competing throughout the season. Overall, the home teams performed strongly, with the Hilltopper boys finishing first and the girls third. For individuals, Ciara Bach-Fisher from St. J came in first with a total time of 1 minute and 20 seconds, and Ethan Mosdale from LI finished first with a time of 1 minute and 16 seconds.
First round went pretty well and had a decent lead. It was like 3/10, so it's kind of tight. So a little bit of pressure for the second run, and then won the second run by, I think, 500, so it was even closer. So there's a lot of guys really pushing it to win, so to get on top of all of them was pretty cool.
To make it easier for vehicles to pass inspection. News 7's Kieran Brisson reports.
Lawmakers in the state of Vermont are looking to trim the requirements for vehicles to pass their car inspection. Should the new requirements pass into law, cars will be able to pass inspection with slight defects to the car, such as a cracked taillight, and many Vermonters support the idea.
It should be a lot easier, mate. Just like I said, have good exhaust, have good tires, have good lights, have a good solid frame, and that's, you want to be safe, but you don't have to go overboard. Let's be honest about the situation.
While there are many Vermont drivers out there who feel that an easy car inspection would be great for them, the car specialists who perform the inspections on the cars feel very differently. They feel that with easier inspection requirements, it just means much more dangerous cars being allowed out on the road.
I don't know how long, but at least 20 years. I've had my inspection license that long. So, I mean, I haven't seen anything really change. As far as making that process easier, because now you're tapping into safety issues, and that's not where you want to go.
One thing that many Vermonters would not know is that it is already easier to pass your car inspection in Vermont. There are laws set in place that would allow for vehicles to pass their inspection in Vermont that you would not find in another state.
Vermont Department of Motor Vehicles has actually made it easier by allowing check engine lights and emission issues to pass right now, whereas before those issues wouldn't have passed.
So we are left with the question as to if it's better to pass inspection or to have stringent inspection requirements that ensure safe vehicles on the road. Kieran Brisson, News 7, Linden.
Terry and Ron Miller have been raising alpacas at Snowshoe Farm for nearly 2 decades. News 7's Rachel Johnson took a trip to Peacham this morning to learn about the animals and their products made with their wool.
We've had alpacas for, 19 years now? And basically started because we like their fiber. So I'm a knitter and a spinner and a weaver. So we raise them for fiber. We sell breeding stock and we raise them for fiber and make yarn out of their wool.
Terry and Ron estimate that they produce 100 pounds of yarn per year. Their final product is both environmentally friendly and of high quality.
If you looked at most wools, they have scales that run along the shaft of the fiber, and on alpacas the scales hug the shaft of the fiber very tightly, so it feels smoother to the touch. So it's very soft and it comes in a lot of different colors.
Of course, the alpacas contribute to business at Snowshoe Farm, but it's no secret that their fun personalities bring life to anyone around.
Say that anybody who's looking to add livestock, the alpacas are a wonderful choice. They really are fairly easy to take care of on a day-to-day basis. They're a lot of fun. You've seen that. I mean, they're smart and they're interesting. They all have different personalities. Make beautiful yarn.
Rachel Johnson, News 7, Peacham.
On the farm's website, you can find profiles for the different alpacas, highlighting their bloodlines, fiber types, and even their personalities.
I started out substitute teaching at my son's school, and I realized that the teaching that the kids were getting in elementary, in the public school system, was a little different than the way I would teach. You find the other claw? I think we got another one right here. And I really wanted to bring a little more skills-based education to kids, especially young kids.
It's too hard painting.
Too hard?
You just paint, but I wanted a sunset.
Okay, if you want the sunset, you gotta rinse that brush out really well. Because I tried a bunch of things like figure drawing and landscape drawing and perspective drawing. Okay, you got 2 more minutes on the sky, and then we're going to switch to the ground. And a lot of really skills that artists learn later on in life. And make another point. Walk over but I tried them at the much younger age, starting in kindergarten, and tried to follow them through the grade levels. Go around the outside of what you just did with the white. Make a circle around it.
Here, can I fix up the blue?
Yeah, I need the, oh no, I don't. And another ring. Get lots of water on there. And they really picked it up fast, and they progressed really quickly. Now you can add water and mix it in, like you did down there. And when I saw that happening, it really clicked off a trigger in my head, and I decided to go into teaching, like, as another part of being an artist. You squish that out in the sink, okay? Don't squish it out there.
Defeating this epidemic will require the commitment of every state, local, and federal agency. Failure is not an option. Addiction is not our future.
5 months ago, President Trump declared opioid abuse a public health emergency. An emergency so dire, the president says drug traffickers should be put to death.
If we don't get tough on the drug dealers, we're wasting our time. Just remember that. We're wasting our time. And that toughness includes the death penalty.
President Trump was in Manchester, New Hampshire recently, speaking on the opioid crisis and how to solve it nationally, saying, quote, "We will be spending the most money ever on the opioid crisis." That money began moving in Washington and was passed by both the House and the Senate in the recent spending bill. Vice Chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee, Senator Patrick Leahy, announced on Wednesday that the state of Vermont will be receiving over $150 million to help combat the opioid epidemic. This includes $32 million in grants for anti-heroin task forces, a minimum of $4 million to be used for state opioid response grant programs, and $130 million to help rural communities at the highest risk for opioid abuse.
I think that there should be money put into treatment, but there also should be money put into prevention as well. That's part of the solution, but I think education and community coalition work is very important in this crisis.
Linden Representative Dick Lawrence, along with 24 others, sponsored a bill that would limit the use of pain drugs by doctors. This bill has since died in committee.
In addition, we're trying to look at alternative therapies like acupuncture and meditation, anything that can be used as an alternative to address pain.
The state does offer help for those struggling with addiction.
The Kingdom Recovery Center is a peer-based recovery place, and there are 12 of them throughout the state called the Vermont Recovery Networks.
When the Kingdom Recovery Center was established in 2004, there were not many options for people.
So we started this place here, Kingdom Recovery Center. There were 2 or 3 others in the state at that time, so that there would be a place for people to go to get some kind of help. And the best help we found at that time was peer recovery. It's people telling their stories. That's basically what it is.
Governor Phil Scott has established an opioid coordination council as part of the effort that President Trump highlighted this week.
I want to win this battle. I don't want to leave at the end of 7 years and have this problem.